Good morning, sports fans. Big Al here on this Saturday, April 29th, 2023. And welcome to our Friday sports recap and a look at what's on tap on this Saturday in the world of sports. We got a lot to talk about today. We had two baseball games postponed because of weather. And we had a third affected by the weather. Also, the Lakers looked to pull off an upset in the opening round of the NBA playoffs as they looked to dispatch the Grizzlies. And the Stanley Cup champions are on the ropes as they go into Game 6 against the Seattle Kraken. See if they evened up the series or they pack their bags and head home for the summer. All that and more coming up as we take a look at the Friday sports recap and a look at today's games. And we'll start off in Major League Baseball, where again, two games were postponed because of bad weather. The Orioles and Tigers in Detroit, and the Pirates and Nationals in Washington both were postponed because of rain. And those four teams will be playing doubleheaders this afternoon. More on that later. As for the games that did take place on Friday, my sports alerts app stops acting up. Here we go. Okay. The Minnesota Twins defeated the Kansas City Royals 8-6. Winning pitcher is Lopez for Minnesota. Losing pitcher is Lyles for Kansas City. And Lopez gets his second save of the season. So it's like the law firm of Lopez and Lopez on the hill for the Minnesota Twins last night. It was the Marlins 3 and the Cubs 2. Puck gets the win for Miami. Rucker takes the loss for the Chicago Cubbies. The Blue Jays defeated the Mariners by the same 3-2 score. Meza wins it for Toronto. Gott takes the loss for Seattle. The save goes to Romano. And I think that's his 9th of the year. It was the Guardians 5 and the Red Sox 2. Shane Bieber wins for Cleveland. Nick Pivetta takes the loss for Boston. Clase is 9th save. The Tampa Bay Rays over the Chicago White Sox 3-2. Pochi wins the game for the Rays. Graveman takes the loss for the Sox. Kelly, his first save of the season for Tampa. The Braves blanked the Mets 4-0 in a rain-shortened 5-inning game. Max Fried wins for Atlanta. Peterson takes the loss for New York. It was the Rangers over the Yankees 5-2. Dunning wins for Texas. Schmidt takes the loss for New York. Smith, his third save of the season for the Rangers. And in the rematch of last October's World Series, the Philadelphia Phillies take the first game of that big 3-game set over the Houston Astros 3-1. Aaron Nola went 8 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts to post the win for the Phils. Valdez takes the loss for Houston. Alvarado is 5th save of the season. It was the Brewers doubling up the Angels 2-1. Strzelecki wins it for Milwaukee. Loop the loss for the Angels. Williams' 4th save. The Diamondbacks blow away the Rockies 9-1. Merrill Kelly wins it for Arizona. The loss goes to Kyle Freeland. It was the Reds 11 and the A's 7. Sessa wins for Cincinnati. Racinski takes the loss for Oakland. and it was the Dodgers over the Cardinals 7-3. Winning pitcher for LA was May. Losing pitcher for St. Louis is Flaherty. Over to the NBA playoffs, where you had a pair of game sixes in the Western Conference. The Sacramento Kings forced a game 7 in their series with the Golden State Warriors, winning last night 118-99. Monk scored 28 for Sacramento. Steph Curry 29 for Golden State. Again, that series is now 3-3, headed back to Sacramento for a decisive game 7. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Lakers pull off a shocker in the opening round of the playoffs, as not only did they beat the Memphis Grizzlies 125-85 in game 6 of that series, they took Memphis to the woodshed and take the series 4-2. Aldama had 16 points for the Grizzlies. Russell finished with 31 for the LA Lakers. So Los Angeles will be awaiting the winner of the Sacramento Golden State series, which I think continues on Sunday. It does. Back in Sacramento. The series shifts back to Sacramento on Sunday. And then in the Stanley Cup playoffs from Friday, the New York Islanders are bounced from the playoffs, losing at home to the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1 in overtime. Carolina had 41 shots on goal versus New York's 34. So Carolina wins this series 4-2. The Florida Panthers survive elimination again as they take down the Boston Bruins in an offensive shootout, 7-5. 34 shots on goal for Boston, 33 for Florida. The Dallas Stars finish off the Minnesota Wild, winning in Game 6, 4-1. 33 shots on goals for Dallas, 24 for Minnesota. And the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche force a Game 7 in their series with the Seattle Kraken, taking Game 6 4-1 in what was a must-win game for the Avs. 39 shots on goal for Colorado and 23 for Seattle. All right, so that is Friday's recap. Now let's jump into the Saturday schedule across the world of sports, starting off with Major League Baseball. And the first game of the day will get underway in just a little more than half an hour in Detroit, as the 9-15 Detroit Tigers host the 17-8 Baltimore Orioles. Dean Kramer is the projected starter for Baltimore, 2-0 record and a 6.20 ERA. He'll be going up against Eduardo Rodriguez of the Detroit Tigers, 1-2 with a 2.32 ERA. That game goes at 12:10 p.m. Eastern Time, again, a little more than a half hour from now. Right. The game will be regionally televised on MASN 2 and Bally Sports Detroit. At 1:05 Eastern Time, the Pittsburgh Pirates, 18-8, faces off with the Washington Nationals, 9-15. And just like the Orioles and Tigers, this is game 1 of a doubleheader. The projected pitching matchup in this game is Rich Hill for the Pirates, 2-2, 4.50 ERA, versus Patrick Corbin for the Nationals, 1-3, 5.88 ERA. This game goes at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be seen regionally on AT&T Sports Pittsburgh, MASN in Washington, and nationally on the MLB Network. At 2:10 Eastern Time, it's Game 3 of the 4-game series between the Kansas City Royals at 6-21 versus the 16-11 Minnesota Twins from Target Field in Minneapolis. The projected starters will be Brad Keller for Kansas City, 2-2 record, 3.96 ERA, versus Bailey Ober for Minnesota, 1-0 record, 1.59 ERA. This game goes at 2:10 p.m. Eastern Time on Bally Sports Kansas City and Bally Sports North. At 3:07 Eastern Time, it's the 11-15 Seattle Mariners at the 17-9 Toronto Blue Jays from the Rogers Center. The projected pitching matchup in this game is Chris Flexen for Seattle, 0-4 with an 8.86 ERA. He'll be towing the slab against Toronto's Kevin Gausman, 2-2, 2.84 ERA. This game goes at 3:07 p.m. Eastern Time and will be regionally televised in Toronto on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1, and in Seattle on Root Sports Northwest. And then you have 2 games being broadcast at 4:05 Eastern Time. The 18-9 Atlanta Braves at the 15-12 New York Mets. Spencer Strider is the starting pitcher for Atlanta, 3-0 record and a 1.80 ERA. He will go up against Taylor McGill of the New York Mets, 3-1 record and a 3.96 ERA. That game goes at 4:05 Eastern Time and will be seen on Fox in most areas. The other game airing at 4:05 Eastern Time on Fox is the 14-11 Chicago Cubs at the 14-13 Miami Marlins. The projected starters for this game will be Caleb Killiam for Chicago, no record, and Edward Cabrera for Miami, 1-2, 4.91 ERA. That game also goes at 4:05 Eastern Time on Fox. So check your local listings for the game in your area. A couple minutes later at 4:07 Eastern Time, the 11-15 Cincinnati Reds battle the 5-22 Oakland A's. Hunter Green is the projected starter for Cincinnati, 0-1, 3.52 ERA. He will face off against Oakland's Kyle Muller, 0-2, 7.23 ERA. This game is at 4:07 Eastern Time and will be broadcast regionally on Bally Sports Ohio and NBC Sports California. Three minutes after that, at 4:10 Eastern Time, it's the 13-13 Cleveland Guardians at the 13-14 Boston Red Sox. The projected pitching matchup is Zach Plesac, 1-1, 6.50 ERA for Cleveland, versus Brian Bello for Boston, 0-1, 9.82 ERA. This game goes at 4:10 Eastern Time and will be televised on NESN and Bally Sports Great Lakes. At 5:10 Eastern Time, it's Game 2 of the World Series rematch from last fall as the 14-13 Philadelphia Phillies take on the 14-12 Houston Astros. Zach Wheeler is the projected starter for Philadelphia, 2-1 record, 4.73 ERA. He'll be opposed by Houston's Christian Javier, 2-0 record, 3.21 ERA. This game goes at 5:10 Eastern Time and will be regionally televised on NBC Sports Bay Area and AT&T Sports Houston, and nationally televised on the MLB Network. Also at 5:10 Eastern Time, the Baltimore Orioles 17-8 and the Detroit Tigers 9-15 will play the second game of their doubleheader. The projected pitching matchup in this game will be Grayson Rodriguez for Baltimore, no record, versus Matthew Boyd for Detroit, 1-1 record, 4.26 ERA. This game goes at 5:10 Eastern Time and will be regionally televised on MASN 2 and Bally Sports Detroit. At 6:05 Eastern Time, it's the 11-14 San Francisco Giants at the 13-14 San Diego Padres. Starting pitcher for the Giants is Sean Manaea, 0-1, 6.61 ERA. He will go up against Joe Musgrove of the Padres, 1-0 record, 5.40 ERA. This game is at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time, and they're playing in Mexico City. The game will be regionally televised on NBC Sports Bay Area and Bally Sports San Diego, and nationally televised on the MLB Network. So if you have MLB Network, check your local listings. Also at 6:05 Eastern Time is Game 2 of the doubleheader between the 18-8 Pittsburgh Pirates and the 9-15 Washington Nationals. Vince Velasquez is the projected starter for the Pirates, 3-2 record, 3.76 ERA. He'll be opposed by Washington's Chad Cole, 0-1, 7.36 ERA. Game 2 between the Pirates and Nationals will go at 6:05 Eastern Time and will be regionally televised on MASN and AT&T Sports Pittsburgh. An hour later, at 7:05 Eastern Time, it's the 15-12 New York Yankees at the 15-11 Texas Rangers. Johnny Brito is the projected starter for New York, 2-2 record, 6.11 ERA, versus Nathan Eovaldi for Texas, 2-2 record, 5.20 ERA. This game goes at 7:05 Eastern Time and will be regionally televised on Bally Sports Southwest and the Yes Network. And then you have two games starting 5 minutes later at 7:10 Eastern Time. The first is the 22-5 Tampa Bay Rays at the 7-20 Chicago White Sox. Starting pitcher for Tampa Bay is Calvin Faucher, 0-1, 5.68 ERA, and he'll be opposed by Chicago's Lance Lynn, who has had a very bad start to 2023. 0-3 record and a 7.52 ERA. First pitch is at 7:10 Eastern Time, and this game will be regionally televised on NBC Sports Chicago and Bally Sports Florida. Also at 7:10 Eastern Time, it's the 14-13 Los Angeles Angels at the 17-9 Milwaukee Brewers. Reed Detmers is the projected starter for the Angels. 0-1 record, 4.15 ERA. He'll be opposed by Milwaukee's Corbin Burns. 2-1 record, 4.55 ERA. This game goes at 7:10 Eastern Time and will be regionally televised on Bally Sports West and Bally Sports Wisconsin. At 8:10 Eastern Time, it's the 15-12 Arizona Diamondbacks going up against the 8-19 Colorado Rockies. The projecting pitching matchup is Tommy Henry for Arizona, no record, and Noah Davis for Colorado, also with no record. That game goes at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time and will be regionally televised on Bally Sports Arizona and AT&T Sports Rocky Mountain. The last game on this Saturday night in baseball is at 9:10 Eastern Time, and it pits the 10-17 St. Louis Cardinals and the 14-13 Los Angeles Dodgers. Jordan Montgomery is the projected starter for St. Louis. 2-3 record, 3.81 ERA. He'll go up against Dodger legend Clayton Kershaw. 4-1 record, 2.32 ERA. This game goes at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be regionally televised on Bally Sports Midwest, on Sportsnet Los Angeles, and nationally televised on FS1. So that's the packed baseball schedule for Saturday. Now we'll jump over to the NBA playoffs, where there's only one game on the schedule for tonight, as the Phoenix Suns and Denver Nuggets play game one of their Western Conference semifinal series from the Ball Arena in Denver. That game is tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. And will be nationally televised on TNT. Now we'll jump to the Stanley Cup playoffs, where there are three games on the schedule. At 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the Toronto Maple Leafs at the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're playing Game 6 of this series, as Toronto will try and break that first-round curse and eliminate Tampa Bay here tonight. Again, that game faces off at 7 p.m. Eastern. It will be nationally televised across Canada on CBC. At 8 p.m. Eastern Time, it's Game 6 between the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers, as that series shifts back to Madison Square Garden, with the Devils up 3-2. All right. That game will be televised nationally in the States on ABC, and streaming on ESPN Plus. And the final game of the night is at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's Game 6 pitting the Edmonton Oilers, who can advance tonight with a win over the Los Angeles Kings at the Crypto.com Arena. Edmonton is up 3-2 in the series, and this game will be televised in Canada on CBC at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, so... And for my football fans out there, I hope you're getting ready because I am. The final day of the 2023 NFL Draft will be getting underway in mere moments. Today, they'll be looking at rounds 4 through 7, and that gets underway at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, on ABC and ESPN, as well as the NFL Network. Okay, that is your Friday sports recap and a look at today's action on this Saturday, April 29th. And we will return tomorrow with yet another recap of Saturday's action. Till then, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching, and go get ready for the draft, huh? Peace out.